Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video with On Point Politics. And today we're going to be looking at the latest individual battleground state polling that we have from 538. Hit the like button and to subscribe if you want more content just like this. A very important disclaimer: this is not an election prediction, but merely what the latest polls are saying, and I am updating you guys on what they are just so you have an idea of what is going on in that department, and you can basically take away from this video your own thoughts and analysis from what I'm about to tell you when I put the polls into context. And so, looking at all the states that more than likely will go to Donald Trump regardless of the polls will be the states of Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas, all of Nebraska except the 2nd Congressional District, the state of Kansas, Oklahoma, Alaska, Arkansas, Louisiana, Missouri, Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, as well as Iowa and Ohio are going to be added in this column. There is not a lot of matchup data. However, Donald Trump will more than likely win these states by over 15 points, according to my election model and simulations. Looking at the states that Donald Trump will more than likely win on election day, I forgot to do a main second. The states that Kamala Harris would more than likely win on election day go Washington, Oregon, California, Colorado, Hawaii, DC, Maryland, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Vermont, and the state of New York, including Maine's 1st Congressional District, and the state of Illinois. This puts Donald Trump at 149 safe electoral college votes to Harris's 191 electoral college votes. We're going to be going from west to east in this video, looking at all the individual state battleground polling. The first state is the state of Nevada, which as of right now, if we were to go to the state of Nevada, the latest poll currently has Donald Trump up by 1 according to Insider Advantage, with 800 likely U.S. voters conducted from August 29th to the 31st, having Donald Trump at 48% to Harris's 47%. The state voted for Joe Biden in the last election cycle by 2 points, so this would be a 3-point shift into the Republican column, giving Donald Trump the lead in the state and helping him acquire the 6 electoral votes from the state of Nevada. Looking at the state of Arizona, this is a key state that Biden flipped back in the 2020 presidential election. You can see, according to Insider Advantage, the state is in fact tied right now. So looking at the previous poll, Donald Trump is up by a single percentage point in the basically the four-way race. And when you do that, you essentially put the state in the tilt Republican column. Since it was tied in the latest poll, we look to the last poll to see where we're going to tilt the state, and that puts the state of Arizona in the tilt Republican column. Looking at the state of New Mexico, this one is fairly fascinating because I actually think this one's going to be a lot closer than people are thinking, because when you reweigh all of the party ID data, according to all these new polls, Donald Trump is actually doing far better than what people are expecting. Looking at the latest poll from August 25th to the 28th, which I should add in my average, with about almost 500 likely U.S. voters from Redfield and Bolton Strategies, sponsored by The Telegraph, Harris is ahead by 7 points, with 47% of the vote to Donald Trump's 40%. This puts the state in the likely Democrat column. This would insinuate about basically a 4-point shift, because he really almost won the state by 11. So this would put the state 4 points to the right of where it was back in the 2020 presidential election. The state of Texas has a large amount of those 40 electoral college votes. The Lone Star State's latest poll is from Quantis Polls and News, which has Donald Trump up by 8 percentage points, with about 1,000 registered voters from August 29th to August 30th. Just for your information, we are not using ActiveVote because they have been so atrocious with their polling recently in the crosstabs in their party identification and take so long to collect data that we are not even considering them a real pollster. So we will be ignoring them for all videos. Quantis Polls and News has Donald Trump by 8 percentage points, with 1,000 registered voters. So this puts the state in the likely column, making it 2.5 points redder than it was in the previous election cycle, helping Donald Trump eclipse 206 electoral college votes. Looking at Nebraska's second congressional district, we have some pretty interesting data out of the state. As of right now, there was the latest poll from Survey USA with about 500 registered voters, which is not enough for Nebraska's second, by the way. That's not enough. This was conducted from August 23rd to the 27th by Survey USA, sponsored by Split Ticket, has Harris ahead by 5 percentage points, so that would go in the likely column, even though I expect this to be a razor-tight race that could technically go either way. Looking at the state of Minnesota, this is a state where the polling has gotten better for Harris, but believe it or not, in the latest Survey USA poll, she actually lost ground by about 5 points. She was ahead by 10 in the poll from basically late July, and now they polled about a month later, and she's only leading by 5. She lost to Trump, gained 3 points, and they usually oversample Democrats here by quite a bit, especially Survey USA does. So we'll put that state in the likely Democrat column. This helps Harris get over 207 electoral college votes. Looking at the key state of Wisconsin, this is another key battleground state for the former president. According to the latest Trafalgar Group poll, with 1,000 likely voters from August 28th to the 30th, Donald Trump is leading the state by 1 point, with 47% of the vote to Harris's 46% of the vote, putting him ahead by a lean margin. This is a key state. He has to flip from Biden in all of the battleground states that he lost in 2020. This is a very, very key flip that is really going to help him moving forward. Looking at the state of Michigan, this is another key battleground state. Looking at Michigan, the latest poll is actually tied. When you look at the previous one, Harris is ahead, so we are going to have to tilt Michigan in the Democrat column. I do expect the state to vote for Donald Trump by 2 to 3 points as of right now, according to my election model and simulations. Looking at the state of Georgia, Donald Trump is, putting up a good fight here in the polling as of right now, although the samples tend to lean pretty left. The latest poll from Insider Advantage does have Harris ahead by about a point here, or roughly tied. It seems like a rounding error, but it does have Harris up by 8 points, so we are going to lean that in the Democrat column. Looking at the state of Florida, this is a behemoth of 30 electoral college votes. The latest poll from Redfield and Wilton Strategies, sponsored by The Telegraph, with about 850 likely U.S. voters from August 25th to the 28th, has Donald Trump up by 5 percentage points. Polling in Florida and Texas tend to underestimate Donald Trump a lot. I mean, they had either him down in Florida or had him barely leading Texas in the average, and thus I actually think that the polls are going to underestimate him again because they aren't weighing properly for what the electorate's going to more than likely be, and so expect a huge underestimation of Donald Trump in Texas and Florida. He's polling significantly better than what he was back then. Looking at North Carolina, this is another key battleground state, a state Donald Trump has won twice in the past few elections. The latest poll does actually have him up by a single percentage point. 800 likely U.S. voters, conducted by Insider Advantage from August 29th to the 31st, has him up by 1 point, with 49% to Harris's 48%. This puts him ahead by a single point in the state, which helps him almost eclipse 270 electoral college votes. Looking at the state of Virginia, a state that voted for Joe Biden by roughly, 10 points in the polling data, had him ahead by 13, 14 points. Now, in the latest 3 polls, has had it pretty competitive, and even FAU's poll has had Donald Trump basically ahead before in mid-July. August 20th to the 22nd from Qantas Polls and News, with about 629 registered voters, is ahead by 3 for Kamala Harris as of right now. This is going to put the state in the lean Democrat column, helping her eclipse 251 electoral college votes. These are the final states: Pennsylvania, Maine at large, and New Hampshire, that will decide the presidential election, especially Pennsylvania. Looking at the latest poll from the state of Pennsylvania, Donald Trump is ahead according to Trafalgar Group with 1,000 likely registered voters or likely U.S. voters from August 28th to the 30th. Donald Trump is up by 2 with his 47% to Harris's 45% in the state, giving him about a 2-point lead, which is roughly what my average actually has in the state of Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania's polling tends to be a little bit more accurate, so that's pretty interesting. This helps Donald Trump eclipse 270 electoral college votes and deems him the winner of this video. Looking at Maine at large and New Hampshire, we will go through those relatively quickly. I do actually expect these to flip to Donald Trump, but the polling does not suggest that, as they do oversample Democrats and undersample independents quite substantially. The University of New Hampshire Survey Center has Harris winning the state by roughly 17 percentage points, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, but it does technically categorize as a safe lead. Looking at the state of New Hampshire, we also do have a poll out of the state, which again, I think Donald Trump's probably going to win this by around a tilt margin or so, but the latest poll with about 2,000 likely voters from August 15th to the 19th from the University of New Hampshire Survey Center has Harris ahead by 5 percentage points. This will end up going in the likely Democrat column. I want people to understand when it comes to polling, there's a difference between accuracy and precision. You can have a high sample size and be precise with all of your samples and get similar results, but that doesn't mean you're going to be accurate, which is actually close to the target. I hope you guys do understand that when it comes to polling. All of these will update over time, so these are not definitive. These are not my election prediction results like most people think they are in the comment section. That is not the case. These are the latest polls from 538, and I'm just relaying the information to you. I am going to warn people that are more left-leaning that the polls do tend to underestimate Donald Trump, and he was polling very poorly in states like Texas and Florida and ended up winning them by 3.5 points in Florida and 5.5 points in Texas. So just beware. Just beware. In Wisconsin, Donald Trump was effectively ahead or down by 8 points in the 538 average in Wisconsin and barely lost the state. And right now, in the average of Wisconsin, we could actually look it up. If we look at the Wisconsin average, Harris is ahead by 3, and if you apply the 8-point polling miss, that actually is right above a 5-point victory, which is actually where my model has it at right now. And so, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe for more content just like this, and make sure to go to the description down below and follow me on X at onpointpolitics in all lowercase, and make sure to comment because it does help us out with the algorithm. And before you guys go ahead and leave, we do have the latest sponsor from On Point Politics. We do have Bet Online. They have a lot of betting odds, but they do have stuff for politics. So we have the betting odds for the presidential election for who is going to win. Donald Trump and Harris have basically equal odds, and we can also go to the swing states. We can also go here as well, which is pretty fascinating. For example, in the state of Arizona, they have about equal odds. Looking at the state of Georgia, the Democrats are actually the underdog here. Looking at the state of Maine, the Republicans are the definite underdog there as well. Nevada, they have equal odds. New Hampshire, Republicans are the underdog. Democrats are favored by quite a bit. For example, if you were to bet about $500 in New Hampshire for Donald Trump, or bet $100, you'd basically win about $500. So that's kind of how that works. And so make sure to go ahead and go to the description down below, because they are in fact there, and you can sign up for free and you can start, basically betting on the elections. And so that is it for this video, guys. I hope to see you guys in the next video.